Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for July the 16th of 2020. Of course, my name is Samuel Adams and this is a daily gaming news podcast meant to bring you the hottest news you need to know from around the industry. Hosted on YouTube and podcast services around the world 5 days a week, it is your one-stop shop for everything you need to know. So if you enjoy the show and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and keep coming back for more. However, the future of video game streaming might not be as bleak as Google Stadia's reception makes it out to be, because we now have more details on Xbox's Project xCloud, and it's launching in September, and it's included in Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. For $15 a month, you can take your Xbox on the road, and of course there are plenty of other bells and whistles that are included in Xbox Game Pass Ultimate to begin with. Today, via Xbox Wire, Microsoft finally unveiled more details about the pricing for Project xCloud, Xbox's big game streaming service. In the blog post, Microsoft reiterated its commitments to backwards compatibility, cross-gen accessories, games that scale across different hardware types, with the central message of putting the customer at the center of what it does. To round it off, Microsoft unveiled that Project xCloud will be part of the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate price tier and will begin rolling out to select countries in September 2020. We don't yet know which countries specifically will be part of the initial wave, but we expect it will at least be the US, the UK, and possibly South Korea, as some of the first countries able to test xCloud. There is a good chance it could simply roll out to every current xCloud testing bracket, depending on how broadly Microsoft has managed to spread its servers out across its big data centers. Project xCloud is an important pillar in Microsoft's broader long-term strategy for its gaming division, as the console industry as a whole has not seen significant additional growth when compared to PC gaming and mobile platforms. Project xCloud and similar streaming services may be able to bring console-quality games to low-powered PCs, smart TVs, and smartphones, growing the market far more rapidly than consoles and gaming-grade PCs can do by themselves. Microsoft is competing against Tencent, Google, and other tech companies to bring its tech to the masses, and Microsoft, armed with the best Xbox One games and the best Xbox Game Pass games it has, is certainly well-placed to get out there ahead of the pack. This is massive for the Xbox brand and really for the technology that is video game streaming. But let's talk about what you are getting for $15 a month. With Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you get access to Game Pass on console, Game Pass on PC, Xbox Live Gold, and now you are going to be getting access to Project xCloud. That is an incredible value. If you really want to break it down, each of those services alone will cost you less than $5 a month, and the amount of return on that investment you get is massive because of the amount of games that you get access to and the online multiplayer that you can take advantage of. This makes Xbox Game Pass Ultimate an even better deal in the world of gaming than it already was. Now, when it comes to the technology itself and the impact this is going to have, it is going to be reverberating throughout the industry, because right now Xbox is ahead of the game when it comes to video game streaming. Now, you can stream stuff on PlayStation now, but when it comes to what the public thinks of when they think about video game streaming, it is undoubtedly going to be Project xCloud and now Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, because PlayStation does not seem to be as interested as of right now, in July of 2020, in marketing the streaming capabilities that they do have, because they could very well compete with Xbox Game Pass, but the amount of deals that Xbox is nailing right now, and the amount of impressive games that are added to the service on a monthly basis, it's a pretty big service to be able to have under your belt. But Project xCloud is officially going to be hitting in September, and I cannot wait to dive in and give it a look on my lunch break, on vacation, whatever I might be doing. Definitely going to be giving this new tech a shot. But on the 23rd of July, the Xbox Games Showcase is coming, and we now know a little bit more about it. It's going to be about an hour long and focus entirely on games. The Xbox Game Showcase for Xbox Series X titles is just 1 week away. Today, Xbox released some additional information on what players can expect via Xbox Wire. The event will be streamed at 1080p 60fps with a 4K 60fps version available immediately after it ends. We don't know a lot about which games will be there, but the presence of Halo Infinite is completely confirmed. Aaron Greenberg, GM of Xbox Marketing, clarified further on Twitter that this event would be solely focused on games with no business, devices, or similar news. He also explained that it will be about an hour long, so we wouldn't recommend expecting the price or even a release date of the Xbox Series X to be revealed at this event. Before the showcase, there will be a Summer Game Fest pre-show hosted by Jeff Keighley on July 23rd at 8 a.m. Pacific Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and the main event starts the same day at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be sure to cover all of the announcements as they happen. They write at Windows Central, and of course, I will be sure to let you guys know what news comes out of the show later on that night on a brand new episode of the Jampack Report. Very excited about the July 23rd event. The main reason we're talking about this on today's episode is because now we know a few more details. It's going to be streamed at a very high quality, and then it's going to be uploaded at an even higher quality with that 4K 60. So as compared to the PlayStation event that we got a couple of weeks back, this Xbox event is going to be able to showcase at least a portion of the fidelity you are going to be able to achieve on the Xbox Series X, which in my opinion is incredibly important. Of course, the PlayStation event was streamed at 30 FPS, which is not a make it or break it for a lot of people, but it certainly wasn't as good as it could have looked. And you see that whenever you look at the trailers that were released after the fact, they looked much better than what was shown off during the main showcase. Now, in terms of games to expect, it's pretty much a free-for-all. Of course, we are going to be seeing Halo Infinite, which I am incredibly excited about. I've been playing a ton of Halo 2 and Halo 3 lately to kind of prep myself for that, and I should probably end up playing more Halo 5 because that's going to be the more comparable experience. But I will say that with all the acquisitions that Xbox has been going through to beef up that Xbox Game Studios lineup, it should be a pretty impressive show, and I think this is a very pivotal moment for the next generation, and I really want you guys to tune in and listen to this because this is what's going to happen. Either Xbox is going to show off an impressive catalog of first-party games that are going to be console sellers, that's what they need, or they are going to have a lackluster event that continually reinforces the narrative of PlayStation being the best place to play games. And I really hope Xbox pulls out all the stops and shows off some incredible worlds, because that's going to be a game changer for the industry overall. Because right now, Microsoft has the technology and Sony has the games. That's the way that I see it. If you look at the next generation, we already have some very impressive games confirmed for the PlayStation 5, and if you look at games that are currently coming out on the PlayStation 4, they are inevitably going to get upgraded, up-resed, whatever you want to call it, versions for the next gen, specifically in regards to The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. So if that ends up being the case, you already know that PlayStation 5 is going to have an impressive slew of games within the first year or two, and Xbox has Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, Project xCloud, so many incredible services that are relatively solid now that they've been fleshed out, but Xbox lacks the games. I want to have something new, something fresh, and I think Xbox could bring it if those investments in these studios is paying off. Phil Spencer seems to be confident, but of course, again, why wouldn't he be? We will see. July 23rd is going to be here before you know it. However, out with the old and in with the new seems to be the slogan over at Microsoft, because Xbox One X and Xbox One S All Digital Edition production is discontinued ahead of the Xbox Series X launch. Microsoft is discontinuing production of Xbox One X and Xbox One S All Digital Edition ahead of the launch of the Xbox Series X, the company confirmed today. Quote, "As we ramp into the future with Xbox Series X, we are taking the natural step of stopping production on Xbox One X and Xbox One S All Digital Edition," a Microsoft spokesperson told The Verge. Xbox One S will continue to be manufactured and sold globally. Although production on the platforms is being discontinued, it is likely that there will still be some stock of Xbox One X and Xbox One S All Digital Editions left at retailers in the coming months. Quote, "Gamers can check with their local retailers for more details on Xbox One hardware availability," the Microsoft spokesperson said. The Xbox Series X is due out this holiday. So, The Xbox One X, launched in 2017, had roughly a 3-year lifespan. The Xbox One S All Digital Edition, even shorter than that. And so it seems that Xbox is really just forgetting this generation ever happened to some degree, and that is probably a wise move. Now, that's not to say that there haven't been impressive experiences that have come out of the Xbox One generation, but it would be very unwise and, quite frankly, a waste of money to continue pumping money into manufacturing the One X and the One S All Digital Edition when you could just have the one cheap, affordable console that is generally the go-to for most modern mainstream gaming audiences, of course that being the Xbox One S. Now, there was a very interesting report that was released last week that explained more about why Xbox isn't going to be able to take advantage of the, I suppose you could call it, the longevity of a console's life cycle in the same way that PlayStation will. As of November of this year, which is assuming to be, if you really want to go out on a limb, the month we are going to be getting the new generation of consoles, the PlayStation 4 still has a ton of value. If you look at the backlog of games that somebody could have by buying a PlayStation 4 at the end of its life cycle, that's an entire life cycle of games that are worth playing. You have some incredible experiences that can keep you busy for months, potentially even years, depending on how much you play. And so these incredible experiences like Uncharted, like God of War, like Infamous, like Ghost of Tsushima, like The Last of Us 1 and 2, there are so many, the list goes on. You are going to be able to continue selling the PlayStation 4 for years to come. It's going to continue being a very popular option for those that might not be ready to upgrade to 4K, for instance, or for those that might not be into mainstream games. If you just want a gaming console to have and to play, the PlayStation 4 can be your affordable entry point. And the Xbox One S is sticking around purely to offer Microsoft fans some way to get into gaming that is comparable to the PlayStation 4 that Sony is going to be keeping on the shelves. Now, how long the Xbox One S will remain on the shelves, yet to be seen, because the Xbox One generation had a few standout hits, but nothing that is really blowing anyone's mind outside of the standard Gears of War, Halo, Sea of Thieves, State of Decay-ish. It really is kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel to some degree when it comes to exclusives that came out that are console sellers. So to streamline your operations for this current generation and to focus entirely on creating the Xbox One S and the Xbox Series X is probably a good move. On top of that, if the Xbox Series S is real, the lower end next gen console, then this frees up plenty of manufacturing manpower to start working on that. We'll have to see what happens. Now, this is a story that I was going to talk about yesterday, but I had a feeling some movement would happen, and lo and behold, it did. Twitch has forced the US Army to stop tricking viewers with fake giveaways. This was a very gross story that came out yesterday. The US Army has a Twitch channel that it uses to fish for potential recruits. Last week, it came under fire for issuing bans to viewers who asked about war crimes, and this week, a report by The Nation dug deeper, pointing out, among other things, that the channel had a habit of running fake controller giveaways that redirected viewers to a recruitment page. Following widespread scrutiny, Twitch says it has forced the Army to stop. According to The Nation, the giveaways, which took place repeatedly in chat, offered viewers a chance to win an Xbox Elite Series 2 controller. Clicking the associated link, however, would send viewers to a recruitment page with no additional mention of a contest, odds, a total number of winners, or when a drawing would occur. Upon learning of this yesterday, Twitch viewers and streamers reacted with disbelief. Quote, the silence from Twitch on the latest wave of criticism regarding the military using the site to scam kids into sharing personal info speaks volumes, said streamer Jason Man vs. Game Love on Twitter. Imagine any other channel doing that. Feel free to manipulate your viewers as much as you like, I guess. End quote. Another quote, hey Twitch, is using your platform to run scams always against the terms of service, or does the US Army get a special exception when they're after kids' blood instead of money? Game developer Bruno Diaz said on Twitter. Now Twitch says it has forced the Army to stop employing this obvious disingenuous tactic. Quote, per our terms of service, promotions on Twitch must comply with all applicable laws, a Twitch spokesperson told Kotaku in an email. This promotion did not comply with our terms and we have required them to remove it. Kotaku reached out to the US Army esports team for information on why they chose to run these faux giveaways in the first place, but they did not reply. Of course, Twitch viewers have seen a lot of the Army recently. In addition to running a Twitch channel, America's Armed Forces are also an official sponsor of Twitch's esports brand and channel, Twitch Rivals. This means, among other things, that the Army's logo appears on the side of esports broadcast, centered around big name games, like League of Legends, Valorant, and even chess, which feature multiple popular personalities. Commentators also periodically shout out the Army, something that has irked viewers in the past, and two sources speaking to Kotaku under the condition of anonymity said this deal likely cost the Army around $1 million. And that's where we'll end this story for today. This is very gross, and I'll tell you why. The younger generation, let's say between the ages of 10 and 15, they might just be getting into playing Fortnite. They are inspired by maybe family views and they feel very patriotic, and they see these tactics of advertising the U.S. Army on Twitch, and they think, well, I'm good at PUBG. I might as well go ahead and give it my all and join the Army and show them what I'm made of. I've got a great shot in COD. Let's go ahead and head over and see if we can get some real shots in real life. That is disgusting that the U.S. Army would take advantage of these children in a moment of weakness and in a moment of cognitive forminance. I don't know what the correct term is here, but to take advantage of children and trick people that are of age, of course, needless to say, that are above the age of 18 into joining the Army, or at least beginning the process of joining the Army, is just disgusting. It's not something that should be done in a underhanded way. If you join the armed forces, which again is your choice entirely, you should do so with a cognitive choice that you are serving your country and you have these beliefs. You shouldn't be joining because you're watching a Valorant stream and you see the Army being advertised alongside this shooting. It feels very gross, and it feels like something that should definitely be looked into because it just doesn't feel right in my book. Doesn't pass the smell test, so to speak. Especially the giveaway. You give away an Xbox Elite Series 2 controller, hypothetically, in exchange for your contact information. Don't believe that one for a second. But moving on from that gross story, PES 2021 season update is out this September, priced at £25. This is a follow-up from yesterday's story. The PES 2021 seasonal update comes out the 15th of September, priced at £25, Konami has announced. As announced, Konami is not launching PES 2021 as a full game. Rather, it is PES 2020 with a season update. It includes the latest player and club data for the new season, whenever that kicks off, as well as the exclusive Euro 2020 mode for the tournament delayed to 2021. Expect a day one patch to ensure the clubs are up to date, given the delayed season endings for many leagues, Konami said. While PES is not a new full game, Konami is selling it in a physical form and as a download priced at £25. There are special club editions of PES 2021 through digital platforms exclusively, available for FC Barcelona, Juventus, Manchester United, Bayern, and Arsenal. These club editions include unique club-specific content such as My Club squads, iconic moment series players, exclusive kits, branded menus, and more. The club editions cost £30. Meanwhile, there is a veterans bonus, rewards depending on the milestones achieved in PES 2020. Of course, yesterday we talked about the fact that it seemed that PES was changing its approach and shifting development of the next big mainline game towards the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. This is cheaper than I thought it'd be, of course, unless you buy a club edition. I pinned the price point at $30, which is roughly $5 more than the £25 that it is priced at now. So if you are into Pro Evolution Soccer, it looks like they are going to be dropping the price down to warrant just having an update instead of a brand new game. But a delay has happened in the world of Destiny. Destiny 2 Expansion Beyond Light has been delayed to November. Bungie has announced it has delayed the Beyond Light expansion to Destiny 2 from September 22nd to November the 10th. According to the studio, it has been a bit of a challenge the past few months working on the expansion due to the current pandemic. Quote, "The past few months have been a challenge and will continue to be during this pandemic. We have learned to create together in a new way by having to work apart from one another. Despite these hurdles, we are still committed to the same level of quality that our fans expect," reads the official statement. We have a powerful story to tell and incredible new features that we are really excited for players to experience. As always, our goal is to make the coolest, most entertaining expansion we can possibly make for our fans, and to that end, we are doing what is best for the game and moving the launch date. Bungie said that over the coming weeks, you can expect more information on Beyond Light and what it means for Season of Arrivals, which will also now extend into November. Beyond Light is the first chapter in a new trilogy of expansions planned for the title that is going to be rolling out over the course of the coming months and years. So, this is a big blow for the Destiny community, but as of right now, it seems like D2 is in a bit of a stable spot. Not good, not bad, it's not thriving, but it's not bleeding out. It seems to be in a solid kind of state. Now, I am not a Destiny 2 player by any stretch of the imagination, but I do throw up a lot of Destiny streams in the background while I work, while I edit this show, and so it seems that it is in a spot where it can be a game that is kind of hands-off for a bit while the team works on creating something a bit more substantial for, of course, the new expansion, Beyond Light. But moving on, Red Dead Online players have dressed as clowns to protest 7 months without an update. After 7 months without a significant update, Red Dead Online players have decided to send in the clowns. The hope among many is that dressing up as clowns will get Rockstar's attention and encourage the dev to bring a new update to the game a little faster. Plus, it's something to do. The last big Red Dead Online update was released back in December of 2019. That popular and well-received Moonshiners update added a brand new role to the game, plus new missions, activities, and even player-owned bars. The author says they really enjoyed the update and thought at the time it was a positive direction for Red Dead Online that got them excited to see what was coming next. Other players and I are still waiting for what is next. In the same period of time, GTA Online has received updates including new contact missions and F1 races. I hate how quickly a game's community can start to play a popular game and call it dead, but in Red Dead Online's case, it is hard to blame players for feeling that way. So in a move that echoes the recent alien war in GTA Online, Red Dead Online players have been dressing up as clowns to protest the lack of updates, the lack of communication from Rockstar about the game's future, and to bring attention to the game's current state. Numerous outlets have been reporting on these clown protests over the last week, and since those are earlier stories, the amount of players dressing up as clowns and invading RDO has only grown. Because this is an online video game with guns, there are almost always murderous clowns, and players will sometimes meet in large groups and invade servers. Other times, just play the game dressed as a clown. This is, number 1, hilarious. Number 2, disgusting. Why would you not update the game for 7 months? It is the midst of a pandemic and you haven't updated a game that could have a thriving online community since December of 2019. Now, to some degree, I feel for Rockstar because if they are all working remotely, which is highly likely, then it could be difficult to upkeep both GTA Online and Red Dead Online. That's the only kind of excuse that I could come up with in my mind, which very well could be the case. And of course, if you are to choose between upkeeping GTA Online and Red Dead Online, well, GTA is going to make more money for you, so it's kind of a no-brainer in that regard. But players are certainly not happy, and you can tell by the way they're all dressing as clowns. In the meantime, you could be diving into No Man's Sky, which has gotten a Desolation update, and Xbox Game Pass and Windows 10 has added 1 million players to the game. No Man's Sky started off as a relatively bare-bones experience, but throughout the years it has received a slew of updates that have made it into one of the best titles available for PC and consoles. Today, developer Hello Games released the Desolation patch that brings with it a number of bug fixes, but the biggest addition has to be abandoned freighters. According to the description, quote, mysterious abandoned freighters floating in space and ripe for scavenging and looting in our latest free No Man's Sky update. This should give you new ways to gather resources. They say at Windows Central they've been playing the update for an hour or so now, and the abandoned freighters are quite common in the galaxy. However, it seems like rewards are quite variable, so what you do depends on your luck. No Man's Sky recently joined Xbox Game Pass, so you can play through it with your subscription on Xbox One and PC. The game is also Xbox One X enhanced, so it looks spectacular running close to 4K on Microsoft's latest console, and if you have not already, be sure to check out the game. It's a lot of fun now. According to a post on Xbox Wire by Hello Games, the Xbox Game Pass and Microsoft Store for PC launch added over 1 million players to the game. That's a lot of people. So that's the main portion that I wanted to point out here, is that 1 million people have gone in and checked out No Man's Sky since its release on Xbox Game Pass, and that is a very large and impressive number. But very much so getting Dead Space vibes from the latest No Man's Sky update. It feels very Dead Space-like, but not quite as horror-filled as that game originally was. Certainly creepy though, but if you are still diving into the world of No Man's Sky and exploring, seeing what you can find, this is the newest update that is ready for you right now. But you might be more into the flight simulator, and if you're playing on PC and you like physical versions, oh, you better get ready to set apart an entire day to install this bad boy, because Microsoft Flight Simulator is coming on 10 discs. Fancy getting a physical copy of Microsoft Flight Sim instead of a digital version? Then expect it to come on 10 different discs. That is 10 double-layer DVDs. Publisher Aerosoft, which struck a deal with Microsoft to ship a physical version of the game across Europe, reveal. Aerosoft will bring the 2 boxed versions of this venerable simulator to customers in Europe. Aerosoft's Methis Koch wrote in a forum post. I believe I said that name horribly incorrectly. But including 10 double-layer DVDs and a printed manual in a spectacular box, it's an ideal way of entering a new age of flight simulation. The 10 discs, could it be a record for video games? It might be. Roberta Williams' 1995 point-and-click Phantasmagoria came on 7 discs. The 1998 point-and-click Black Dahlia? Dahlia? Sure, Delilah is a radio host. Black Dahlia came on 8 discs, and the 2004 MMO EverQuest 2 came on 9 discs, with 1 bonus included. I Remember the Secret of Monkey Island 2 came on 11 floppy disks for the Amiga, the author says, but that was diskettes, not discs, different ballgame. So what do you get for 10 different discs? Well, the retail version of Microsoft Flight Simulator contains the simulator code itself, which is relatively small in terms of data, and the virtual world it's set in, which according to Aerosoft is around 90 gigabytes. There is also, quote, optional online streamed content and optional third-party files. The DVDs in the box contain all of the game world, apart from the updates Microsoft and developer Asobo release between the moment the discs are pressed and released, so when you install, you will get an update from the server. The boxed version makes it possible for people on a slower internet connection to get the sim installed without downloading the content, Koch explained. So the simulator is in every way 100% the same. The boxed retail version just gets you a nice box, printed manual, and about 90 gigabytes you do not have to download. There is no difference between boxed retail and the version MS sells directly. The standard edition cost €69.99 and the premium edition cost €129.99. Both come on 10 discs. It feels old school, but I like it, says the author. This is massive. It is 10 discs, but I will say this makes sense for this specific game. And for the purpose of longevity for this title, because you have to understand the complexity of Microsoft Flight Simulator and the amount of depth that it has warrants this being a training module for pilots in the future. This is something that will be used for the next 15, maybe even 20 years to some degree. Depends on how many updates the game gets. But for this to be able to be used in the middle of Alaska with no internet connection, for this to be used in somebody's basement 30 years from now, whenever they dig out their old simulator rig and they want to boot it up. This is the best way to ensure you are going to be able to play the game in the long term. Now, for the casual player, it doesn't really matter that much because you are just going to be diving in, flying a couple of planes around, and then who knows what you'll be playing in 2 hours. But for the dedicated, for the enthusiast, the 10-disc version might be the one you want if you are stuck in the world of the physical disc. But that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. If you enjoyed today's show, drop me a like down below and let me know what you think about everything we talked about here today. How do you feel about Project xCloud and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, and of course the Xbox One X and the Series S, the Xbox One S All Digital Edition being discontinued? Would love to hear what you have to say about those stories and everything else. But until tomorrow, you guys have a fantastic rest of your night. I'll talk to you soon, and peace.